Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in, or what time you're watching this stream re-upload. That's right, you're watching a clip that is from a stream that we did probably on a Sunday, because that's the day that we've decided, and we miss you there, so please make sure that you drop by for the next stream Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to check it out. We'd love to have you there. It's always a blast. It's just us listening to music, hanging out, kind of just getting to know each other, and that's honestly so much fun. So looking forward to seeing you there. If you're not able to make it, totally cool. Enjoy the video, but love you all. Let's get into it. Good to go? I think we're good to go. Let's start it off. Ooh.
Life is funny sometimes. Life is funny sometimes. Life is funny sometimes. What type of human are you? The type to question things, or the type who don't care if you do? Are you the type to get excited by a molecule divided, split an atom in a fraction, blow a nuclear fuse? Are you seeking?
Yo, okay, so one thing right out the gate, he says, what type of human are you? The type to question things? And he's asking the question of what type of human are you, while saying what type of human are you, right? Because he's saying there's two types of people that question life and people that just go along with life. And in the asking of that question, he tells us exactly what kind of human he is. Bro, I love that. That's such a solid setup to that line. I really like that. And I like that in the background, we're talking about like, what type of human are you? Are you here to question the way that things are going? And then we see like the atom bomb, right? Like the just dropping, and like, I guess that was the atom bomb, something along the lines, but we're talking about dividing an atom, which ultimately is a nuclear explosion, right? That's how, just if anyone doesn't know, the way an atom bomb works is you split an atom, and that atom basically explodes outwards. It's two separate pieces, and it collides into other atoms that also begin to explode outwards, and then this creates a massive explosion. And so we see that kind of in the background by talking about a molecule divided. And what we're saying is, are you the type to question the terrible things that humans do to each other, like the atom bomb, or are you the type to just sit by and let it go, right? And then think about the question that he's asking about. That's such an intense one, right? Because he could have just said, are you the type to question, like he could have talked about capitalism, but he talked about one of the worst possible things that we've seen in existence. And he said, are you the type to even think about questioning that, or do you just let stuff like that go by? He's almost asking us to be introspective and inviting us to do that. I love that. That's so solid. Yeah, yo, that's solid choice. Solid choice. Okay. All right. Oh, let me go back. That's something that I edited out of like videos, so you guys don't have to deal with that. We're gonna have to go back. I always forget to do that. Okay. And then, oh, the other thing is, are you the type to get excited by a molecule divided, splitting an atom? Like, are you the type to be like, oh, let's do this. You know what? Let's keep using this, right? Saying like, are you the type that wants war? Are you the type that wants chaos and destruction? Is that who you are? And it makes you really think about it. Like, what kind of person are you? Oh, that's solid.
A molecule divided, split an atom in a fraction, blow a nuclear fuse. Are you seeking the truth, or are your hands on your eyes? Pick up a paper, don't debate with anything that's inside. Are you happy with life on the day that you die? Will there be tears full of fear, or will you die with a smile? I'll pick up a paper, then put down.
Yo, that line right there is something I think about a lot. Like, and I think a lot of us do, right? Because it's the end. This is what a lot of us like wonder about, and not even just so much is it even the end? We don't know what comes next, right? We don't know what happens after. But I really like that question of, are you the type that is going to basically just like stand there hiding from the truth because it's right there in front of all of us, but we don't necessarily see it. We don't look for it. And if you're not looking for it, you will never see it, right? So are you the type to do that? Or are you going to be happy with the life that you've chosen because you're someone who's willing to kind of push for change, right? On the day that you die, are you going to be happy? Are you going to be the type to, or are you going to be someone who is content at the end of their life? And think about what that means. A lot of people say at the end of your life, you get flashbacks of basically everything that's happened in your life, right? It's the time before you die. And so you get like a short video, almost montage of your brain saying, hey, these are all the things that happened in your life? And are you going to be happy about seeing that real, or is that going to be something that you're going to be disappointed of? And if it is something you're going to be disappointed of, maybe this is the time through this song where it wakes you up to think about, well, maybe I should change the way that my perspective is. And maybe I should question things that exist in life. Maybe I should think about these things. And this is a great way to kind of wake someone up, make them realize, oh my God, okay. Okay. You can see how these videos get a little long. Morning all, sneak peek. Oh, hey, Kat, how's it going? Wait, Becca, can we hear Becca? Is that something that we can do? Okay, let's get back into it. Cool.
The day the eyes pick up a paper, don't debate with anything that's inside. Are you happy with life? On the day that you die, will there be tears full of fear, or will you die with a smile? I pick up a paper, then put down a pattern, an unscribable syllable pattern, and if there are spaces, I'm filling the gap in focus. Splitting an atom, I'm bringing it back in the words I'm attacking, it's cracking, unpacking the wisdom of rapping, I'm running, I'm lapping, I'm bringing a skill like Lotus. Hidden dragon, tiger, styling.
Okay, yeah, all right. I'm really glad I pulled up the lyrics, because there's no way in hell I would have gotten all that in one shot. That's a lot. One thing just stylistically that I really like is when we watch kind of this part here, listen to how it starts.
I'm bringing it back in the words I'm attacking, it's cracking, unpacking the wisdom of rapping, I'm running, I'm lapping, I'm bringing a skill like Lotus. Hidden dragon tiger.
Like all that, and then actually the part I missed was the focus. He says focus, and everything he kind of slows down to say focus. And that's something that we all do, right? When we're thinking about the things that are on our mind, we're running through all the stuff that we're thinking of, because our mind is constantly racing. But then he says focus, because we literally have to take a step back and be like, all right, breathe, take a second, focus. But also, that's also the emotional impact, right? All that stuff happening in your head that like ultimately when you feel it, the emotions are so heavy, you do need to pull yourself out of it and reevaluate everything that you're looking at. And that requires focus. And so that's kind of what he's saying there. Oh my God. Was it? Oh, it was awesome meeting you in person as well. Yeah, I think there's kind of keys to both, like in depth and reaction style. I think both have their merits, but I personally think the rap style is, or sorry, like the rap style, the in depth style is something I prefer. Something I really liked here was that he ultimately said, like, when he's giving us all of his rap wisdom by like unwrapping it. And I really like that line there, because he's adding that in as like all the stuff he's learned in his life, all the stuff that he's been considering now, had the time to take focus on and look at. He's now giving it to us packaged in this song. And that's so sweet. Like, I love that. Okay. I need to go back to the second part of that though, because I think I missed it. Okay.
In focus, splitting an atom, I'm bringing it back in the words I'm attacking, it's cracking, unpacking the.
No, that's the part I just did. I need to go back. See, this is a lot harder when I don't go back properly. Okay.
Die, will there be tears full of fear, or will you die with a smile? I pick up a paper, then put down a pattern, an unscribable syllable pattern, and if there are spaces, I'm filling the gap in focus. Splitting an atom, I'm bringing it back in.
Oh, if there are gaps, I'm filling them up with focus. Oh my God. And even if you think about that, he leaves a gap in the song, the one that he's currently writing, as the spot for focus. And he's focusing our attention on that spot while explaining the writing process of how he does it. Yo, that's so cool. Oh my God. Okay. And then we already talked about this, so I won't talk about this.
In the words I'm attacking, it's cracking, unpacking the wisdom of rapping, I'm running, I'm lapping, I'm bringing a skill like Lotus. Hidden.
Yeah, and I like this too. Hidden Dragon and Tiger. He's talking about like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which is the internal focus, right? That's the whole movie is about, like, or not the whole movie, but like the message in that movie is that inside of all of us, there is that creature that has the wisdom and also has the strength to continue, to keep going and to create change. And that's why we bring up the focus. You're on your hidden dragon / the tiger inside. Yo, solid. Oh my God.
I'm bringing it back in the words I'm attacking, it's cracking, unpacking the wisdom of rapping, I'm running, I'm lapping, I'm bringing a skill like Lotus.
And bringing the skill like Lotus flower, which is representative of peace and tranquility. Yo.
Hidden dragon tiger, style inside your mind, the world is wider. When you look inside can guide you. Weave a web of wisdom like a spider, perceive the unseeable, hadron.
Weave a web of wisdom like a spider so it can catch all the mistakes of your thinking, right? Because like when you have wisdom, the point of wisdom is to use it to fuel your own understanding, right? And so when you weave that web of wisdom, you're catching all the stuff that was like the crap in your mind, like the pollution that may have made it through to your consciousness if you hadn't had the wisdom. And I love that. And then we just talked about the fact that it's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and then that's the video that we basically get right after, where it's like, yeah, focus on that internal piece, the person inside who has an idea of what the truth should be. And then that's what we're seeing, and saying inside your mind the world is wider, right? Because it's like, yeah, if you look at the world just as is and you take it from what you've been told, then the world seems small, it seems narrow. But if you look inside and try not to just utilize the messages that you're given from the external world, and you try to look inside to view the world, then the world gets wider. Yo, that's so clever. I love it. I love that so much. Oh my god. Okay. Also, I wonder if Ren's a Spider-Man fan, because I've been playing a lot of the Spider-Man game, and that drew me right back to that with the spiderweb line.
Guide you, weave a web of wisdom like a spider. Perceive the unseeable, hadron collider. Life is fun.
Hadron Collider, because you're speeding up the particles. Oh my god. And then that's like, if you think about it, he's trying to create that reaction, that particle reaction, that collider, accelerator, everything in your mind, right? And then we see the lightning, like a spark of lightning as well. And then we're trying to say that we're trying to jumpstart our ideals and our ideas and shift the way that our perspective is, like a collider does shift our understanding of science and physics. And so he's trying to do that to our mind in the same way that we're using the Hadron Collider to learn more about science. We're learning more about the world through his writing and through his music, but then also an introspective look inside ourselves, which guides our understanding. Come on, man. Oh my god. Okay. Oh.
Life is funny, 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 life is funny.
I like how in that too, the lightning's actually like, it's starting. If we let me go back to show it.
Funny, life is funny, life is funny, life is funny, life is funny.
So it's actually spreading upwards and outwards, which is kind of contrasting to what we usually see with lightning, right? Because usually it strikes downwards, though lightning can also strike upwards. But something that we're seeing here is the striking upwards and the expanding, right? And it's almost like our knowledge. It's like if you think about our neurons, which are what our brain is made up of, it's like these little electrical pathways. It's like he's literally lighting up all of our electrical pathways. He's lighting up our mind inside to give us a better understanding, a better insight. Holy shoot.
Life is funny, life is funny, life is funny. Sometimes it's like I'm looking at you, wondering what I would do if I was there in your shoe. If I was born a different mind, a different time, a different view, would my behaviors be the same? And do we even really choose? Am I
Bro, yo, I think about this all the time. This is like, guys, so when we're doing reactions, like one of the things I really end up doing is kind of, instead of viewing it, I try to kind of go inside the mind of the artist to see what they were thinking when they made it and what would have made them choose the specific words that they did. And so like what he's kind of saying is kind of a comment on the way that I'm doing reactions to his stuff, which I love. But on top of that, it's like, this is what we do with people, right? We walk around and we oftentimes will look at someone. It's one of like the most played games, I assume. Like when you hear about like you assign people stories, right? You give people stories that you have no idea who they are, but you say, hey, I wonder what their story is. Let me make this up as a fun little game for myself. We literally do this all the time. And it makes sense because we're a social species. So that's why when we're walking around, we always look around and say, that person over there, the way they're behaving, I wonder, would I be like that if I grew up the same way they did? Or is my mind different enough that even given the same circumstances, I might think differently, right? And that's something we have to consider. And I think we were talking earlier about like censorship and stuff. And this is something that's really important in regards to censorship, because a lot of people end up getting in trouble for things that they said like 15 years ago, right? And when they say this in a time, not that it's right that they said it back then, right? But when they said something that at the time socially was okay, right? Not great, but socially it wasn't like, you're not going to be crucified for it. And then it gets brought up 15 years down the road when they've also changed as a person, where their understanding of the world has changed, and maybe they don't believe in anything that they said like that before, but still they'll get backlash for something, even if all of their actions and words currently speak very differently from that person they were back then. And I really, it amazes me that that still happens, because like, I get it. They said something terrible in the past, and maybe I'm wrong for this, but if they said something terrible in the past with the person they are now shows a completely different perspective, then maybe we should give them a little bit of slack, because they've actually learned. And that's even harder than someone who said something in the past and says the same bullshit now, where they're the same person, they haven't changed, they still think that same way, even though like society has changed, people have a better understanding of one another. So if they haven't changed, that's less powerful than someone who actively has changed. And so we're actually, when people have changed and we're reaching back 15 years to pull up like a tweet that they said, we're actually like choosing to punish them for positive change, which I never really understand. This is kind of like an offshoot, just an idea that came to my mind while we were watching this. But sorry, that was something that always intrigues me in terms of the way that we kind of almost make antagonists out of people for something that they've changed. Hey Kate, how's it going? Okay, yeah, the stories, right? Like you look at people and you make up stories for them. And this is cool because like we think about like they're born in a different time, they're probably raised in a different way, the societal standards are completely different. So how can we look at them and then think, would we be the exact same as them? Because we don't know, right? Okay.
On a different mind, a different time, a different view with my...
Oh, the other thing, I like the style change up here because we're on kind of a different perspective. Right now we're going inside other people's minds. We changed up and we got some beatboxing that we're hearing in the background. Oh yeah. Oh, I love the beatboxing.
Behaviors be the same, and do we even really choose? Am I the byproduct of my environment? I buy products for my requirement. A sucker, I know that cause I'm a sucker too. You're a sucker, I'm a sucker, fuck it, what you gonna do? With this body you were given, your life are you living? Have you sight or no vision? Are you tired with the game? Passive or decision, follow or ambition? Surgical incision in the middle of the brain.
Oh my god. So are we the byproducts of our environments? Because this is the whole environment versus the way that you were raised, right? So it's we're asking here is the social like era that you're born into gonna basically tell you who you are, or is it something internal that does that instead? Right? And so we're saying that even while we're thinking about that, while we're having this intensely introspective conversation, we're still doing the things that we normally do. We're buying products, right? We're still suckers. Even when we're having this conversation in our mind, thinking about all these things that could be so deep from a social perspective, right? And we're considering all these facets of the way that life has been organized by the powers that be, that even while we're doing that and understanding that that's happening, we're still buying the products that are being sold to us. And that's what's being said here. Yo, that's true, right? That happens with all of us, right? We're thinking about this stuff as we're even buying it. We'll probably go to the store and be like, wow, there's a lot of plastic used to wrap around this product, but I need it, so I'm going to probably have to buy it, right? And then by buying it because you need it, you actually support the person who has used all that plastic or has upcharged the price by like a ton, right? And sometimes it's because you don't have another choice, but sometimes it's also because it's easier for us. And that's what we're choosing to do, even amidst knowing that it's probably wrong. Yo, that's crazy. And then he even says like, what are you gonna do, right? What can you do? You can't make that product on your own. I don't know how to make the chemical formula for like, I don't know, laundry detergent, right? I don't know how to do that. So I have to go elsewhere. Oh, that's nuts. I was singing along and I was doing that. Yeah, it's true. I can't judge anyone else's path. That's exactly it, right? Like everyone has their own path. And as long as they're not hurting anyone, what does it matter to you, right? Like just let them do their thing. You do your thing and we'll all be fine. We'll all be happy. Just trying to make up excuses for folks behaving. Yeah, it's true. And that's the funny part is that we even make up excuses for people that are not us, right? We try to give them rationale, especially if it's someone that we know. If they've done something wrong, we'll try to give them benefit of the doubt by giving them a reason. Yo, that's true. That's a good point. Let me go back just a second here. Because I missed the second half.
Life are you living? Have you sight or no vision? Are you tired with the game? Passive or decision?
Have you sight or no vision? It's the same question, but a very different. It's like saying, "Are you hearing me or are you listening to me?" Right? Because hearing implies that you can hear the sounds that are coming into your ear, but listening implies that you're understanding what you're hearing, right? And it's the same thing being asked here: Are you seeing or are you lacking vision? Right? That's such a great. I love that because it's like in this way we're seeing the TV representations of all the problems, like the same way that we saw before. Uh, yeah, exactly. Like in Money Heist, right? Like we saw Money Heist 2. This is the same style, and so we're kind of seeing it again, showing us all the things that are relating to the lyrics that are being brought up. And so he's saying right now, are you just watching, like just looking at it, or are you truly seeing it? Are you actually understanding what you're seeing and taking it in, or do you just let life kind of keep going? Right, and just go with the flow, and that's why we get follow or ambition. Oh my god. Okay, okay. No, we're the hostage money interpretation of the characters, anyways. So then you cannot support the. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you. That's the goal, right? Is push for a system of change, and that's kind of what this whole music video is about. It's trying to push the idea of like the thoughts that we have. Maybe we should reconsider them and truly gain some insight onto why we feel the way that we feel and how the world is working the way that it works and how can it change as a result. But if we never think about it, if we never truly sit down and try to understand the things that make us uncomfortable or the things that we think are wrong in the world, how are we ever going to make a difference because we don't understand how the change even started in the first place? Damn. Okay.
Follow our ambition, surgical incision in the middle of the brain. Say my name, say my name. I bang like Kurt Cobain.
Did he say that in the say my name, say my name? Was that the same way? I love that because it's like he's kind of saying like, you know, we're using like the pop trends to kind of distract people, and now he brought that in and it completely distracted me from the topic of discussion. Because now I'm thinking about that song, and that's such a clever way to say that. Look, like there are these issues that we have that I just talked a whole bunch about, and now when I say this one thing where the sound comes back to you like a pop song, that pop, that traditional stuff that they put on radio that distracts you, will distract you from all the issues as well. But he's using that as a parallel. It's not literally that pop song he's talking about. He's actually paralleling this to other distractions that we see in the news and in the world and in everywhere all around us, like through capitalism, through all that stuff, and saying those distractions distract you from all the true problems, just like the way that pop songs kind of generalize and don't really address any of the issues. And that's what's happening here. Oh my god. Oh yeah, Money Heist is the show, that's true. I have to get out of here. Oh, see you later, Kathleen. Oh, he totally would. If you guys haven't seen it, there's a guy named Hobson that does a really cool video with that. But it's more like a braggadocious style, but the video is really cool. Okay, I'm gonna go back a second.
Say my name, say my name. I bang like Kurt Cobain, reach Nirvana on the spiritual plane. In brain insane like I'm Cypress Hill. Tray flipping like I'm Tony cause I got this skill. Life is fun, life is...
Yo, I like how he talks about a lot of like iconic people there, right? Like, so we talk about Kurt Cobain, we talk about Nirvana, but we use all of them in such an interesting way because we're saying like ultimately we're going as hard as Kurt Cobain, but we also are trying to reach Nirvana on a spiritual plane because Nirvana means that sense of like completion and peace and understanding, and that's what we're trying to reach while also going hard as hell like Kurt Cobain, which also I'm pretty sure Kurt Cobain had like a drug issue, which I wonder if he's trying to kind of intersect that here. And then in the membrane insane like of Cypress Hill, I don't know that I understand the reference there, but membrane is like when you think about cells, they have like an outer layer. That's the membrane. So he's saying down to the very cellular makeup of my body, I am insane. And Cypress Hill is a rapper, right? So he's insane like him, which is a great nod to Cypress Hill, and I love that, right? But that's cool because earlier we talked about breaking down a molecule, right? And splitting it and creating an atom bomb. And here we're talking about a membrane, which is a part of a cell, which you can almost consider as part of that same like level of microscopicness. I don't know if that's a word, but that's what we're looking at. And we're now evaluating Ren's microscopic level. And that's so cool because we're getting an insight into his mind, right? And that's such a great way to show this. Oh, I didn't know he shot himself in the head. Holy smokes. That's a whole different meaning to that. Thank you for that. Well, if he shot himself in the head, then he's saying I bang like Kurt Cobain. So slowly he's kind of killing himself over all of this, and then also reaching nirvana by doing so. Yo, that thank you for that, because that actually makes the bar make so much more sense. Because slowly through this process of going through his music, which involves him like, in order to get to this point, he had to be sick. He had to actually experience these problems, right? Ultimately, he's saying that through slowly dying in his mind, he actually started to reach nirvana, because it took those pains and those problems to truly start to understand the way that the world works and the way that there is kind of that however we can improve. And I love that. Oh my god. Hell's rap. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that was their song. Insane the Membrane was their song. I didn't know that. There you go. That makes perfect sense too. But then Trey flipping like I'm Tony, because he's got the skill like Tony Hawk, right? Tony Hawk the skateboarder. And so he's literally like, he's flipping the script, right? And that's like kick flipping a skateboard. He's flipping the script like Tony Hawk with the same level of skill, except he's doing it in music. Yo, Ren is stupid good. Like, I don't even, how do you write like this?
Tony, because I got this skill. Life is funny, 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 life is.
Yo, and something I just noticed, I don't think we saw the lightning strike anything but the sky earlier, and now it's striking the ground, right? Like we're seeing it go down, and that's almost like we're grounded, right? And maybe that's what it's meant to represent, is like a level of groundedness that we've reached, right? So earlier we're kind of searching the void for wisdom, and then it almost even looked like a web earlier, and now all of a sudden the lightning is also striking down because it's grounded. That's sick.
Funny. Quarantined inside my room, we're living in very strange times.
Sure.
Pick up my paper, then pick up my pen, and I won't be stopping till I'm top of the throne, top of this hill, top of the moment that's keeping it real, top of the beat, top of this vibe, top of the symbol on top of the ride, top of the pop, top of the mix, top of the snare that follows the kick, top of the game, I remain today holding my pain with a syllable savagely spit, picking the talking.
Bro, yo, honestly, one of my favorite things is when we play on like using the same kind of starting section, so like top of the this, top of the that, top of the this, top of the that, right? And then on top of that, we're switching up just like one word at a time, but even interspersed in those, we've switched up some of the words. So it's like top of the throne, top of the hill, top of the moment. That's keeping it real. That stuff, like where it's like, it's kind of structured like with rhyme, and then a switch up, rhyme, switch up. I love that stuff. But even then, the last word mix in kind of as a slant rhyme. Oh, and then on top of that, he's saying like this is during quarantine, right? Where everyone is isolated, where we're feeling lonely, right? We're living in like the strangest time we'll ever, where this will be like recorded in history books, how crazy this stuff is. That in that moment, he decided, I'm going to pick up my pen, I'm going to pick up my paper, I'm going to write down everything I'm feeling and take that with me right to the top of all of the things that he just listed. So like top of the moment, where we're saying even in that moment where he's writing, it's taking him right to the top of feeling in that moment. And then top of the pop, top of just everything, where we're saying top of the pops, like top of the pop charts, right? So even he'll create some music for that too. Even though Ren is like as far from pop as you can get, he can still swing pop if he wants to, because that's the kind of artist that he is. Damn. Okay. Well, I'm going to go back 1 second. Oh yeah, and then top of the game, I remain to take the hold of my pain with the syllables savagely spit, where we're still running on that crazy quick pace of spitting, but on top of that, we're saying like he's gonna stay at the top of the game by using his pain, and this is what we talk about all the time, where the pain that we have, and so there's actually a line in one of my favorite songs right now where the artist says, "I don't make mistakes, the mistakes make me," and I love that line. Because what that means is that, yes, we're going to make mistakes, right? But it's not that we're making mistakes, because mistakes are actually a learning opportunity. So it's not that we're making mistakes. The mistakes are actually making us who we are. They're making us better than who we are. And that's kind of what Ren does, where he takes that pain, he takes that negative experience that he has, and he puts it down in the music so that it can elevate the type of person that he is and help give us an understanding of ourselves, as well as him, as well as the world. And that's kind of what he's doing. Oh my God, okay. Top of the Pops was a music show in the UK. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. I like. Oh, so then he's Top of the Pop. I wonder if was that also a show where like if you won, you were like the top pop. Because then if that's the case, that makes even more sense here because he's still playing that game, right? He's on this music show, except it's a music show of life, and still trying to achieve the top spot. Damn, damn. Okay.
I remain today holding my pain with a syllable savagely spit. Ticking the talk and the ticking the talk of the clock. It's ticking a lot. I delivered the shock like an insulin shot, and I'm back on the block and attacking them hot, and I'm taking the pop.
Did you say insulin shot? Hang on, hang on. Is that for me? For those of you that don't know, I'm diabetic. One of my favorite supernatural episodes. Yes, exactly that. Exactly that. Something I really like here too is he says ticking the talking, the ticking the talking, the ticking the time. And this is like when you're thinking about time, yo, honestly, all you can ever do is think about time when you're thinking about time. Because you start thinking about as time is passing, you start thinking about the time that has passed. And a lot of the time when you're thinking about time, it's not in a positive way of like, oh, I have so much more time to enjoy this thing. Usually it's like, oh man, I could have done so much more with this time. And that's what he's saying is happening in his head. He's thinking about time in that sense. And it keeps kind of ticking in his own mind. That's crazy. And he's delivering a shock like an insulin shot. I don't I don't know that that makes the most sense biologically. I'm gonna be honest with you. But maybe I just don't get it. But delivering a shock like an insulin shot, maybe the shot itself, because it's surprising, but you need insulin to kind of help you balance, and maybe that's what he's saying. He's delivering the shock like an insulin shot. Oh, that's kind of sick, actually. I like that a lot. Okay. Oh, there you go. Yeah, getting the top pops meant you made it. That's solid. That's so solid.
Ticking the talk of the clock, it's ticking a lot. I delivered the shock like an insulin shot, and I'm back on the block and attacking them hot, and I'm taking the pop with the rock in the sock, and I'm swinging it, bringing it, flinging it, knocking the teeth right out your mouth, bitch. I'm back on the roll.
Yo. The bitch and then the punch. One other thing I really like is the music dropped out there when we were hearing tick tock, and then we had the bass come in as kind of like the seconds that we can hear in the background, like the tick tock. That's such a clever production choice. I really let's go back and listen to that for like 1 second. That's super cool.
Savagely spit. Ticking the talk and the ticking the talk of the clock. It's ticking a lot. I delivered the shock like an insulin shot, and I'm back on the block and attacking them hot, and I'm taking the pop with the rock in the sock, and I'm swinging it, bringing it, flinging it, knocking the teeth right out your mouth.
Oh,
Back on the roll.
I love that. That's such a solid production choice. Oh my god. Okay. And then he says, I'm back on the block and attacking him hot because, yeah, he disappeared for a while, right? Especially like from the music industry, but then he's back and he's taking the pop with a rock in a sock. And you know, if you've ever seen this happen, like when you fill up a rock with socks and you use that as a weapon, is pretty brutal. And so he's basically doing that, but he's saying that also pop and rock, like the genres, because he's taking the pop in his music, he's taking the rock in his music, he's taking every genre of music, and then he even says he's swinging it, bringing it, and flinging it and knocking, right? So he even includes swing into that, which is such a cool way to think about it. But he's saying that he'll take it and he'll knock your teeth out because ultimately all of his music is meant to slap us in the face and wake us up, right? Like make us understand either society or understand ourselves. So even though this is like a brutal metaphor for slamming someone in the face with a rock or a sock full of rocks, it's really going to hurt. It's also used beautifully to make us understand that he's trying to give us a better perspective by waking us up, and maybe not even just us, but himself as well. And then he says, knock the teeth right out the mouth, bitch. I love that. There's so much energy in that. And then that almost even relates to like how other artists will downplay Ren's music because they're like, oh, it's too emotional. And it's like, bro, that's what we need. We need emotion. We need understanding. We need to think in this time and age and day. And that's what's important about Ren's music. Oh my God. Okay, let me see.
Oh, back on the wheel, back in myself, back in the field, back in the game, back in the lane, back in the same old Batmobile, back in the flow, back in the pace, back in the building, bomb that bass, back in the nectar, back in the honey. Life is funny, life is funny, life is funny.
Back in the nectar, back in the honey. Yo, that's such a great line too, because that's what bees do, and bees pollinate, right? And so if bees pollinate, what does Ren do? Ren also pollinates, except the flowers he's pollinating are the flowers of change, right? And that's what he's saying. But also honey, because it's sweet like nectar, like success and like power and like money, and that's why he's back in the limelight, right? And that's what he's saying here. Yo, that's so solid, because now that he's back in the game. Oh, also I like the back in the same old Batmobile. He's saying that I'm in the same old thing I was in before, and I'm just gonna drive this to the top, because what I had before was the right formula and the right thought and the right mindset, and that hasn't changed. So I'm gonna get back in that old Batmobile, go back into the same flow, and carry it right to the top. So even if those stupid music industry, like if it doesn't understand where I'm coming from, I'm still going to use that because I know it's powerful, and I'm going to take it, energize it, and take it right to the top. And that's what he's doing. And I honestly, that pollination line is, or not pollination, but like the saying that he's like a bee, he's like basically he's back in the nectar, back in the honey. That kills. That's such a good line. That's such a powerful line.
In the lane, back in the same old Batmobile, back in the flow, back in the place, back in the building, bomb that base, back in the nectar, back in the honey. Life is funny, life is funny, life is funny.
Life is funny. Oh, and then we get an optical illusion. Come on. Yo, what? I love that we end on that too, like the optical illusion, because it's like, yeah, life is funny, life is weird. So where we've been talking about seeing properly the whole time, right? We actually now are looking at it and saying, oh, even while we're looking, while we're trying to get a better perspective, now we realize that the world isn't as clean cut as we thought it was. It's not just black and white, at least not in the standard form of black and white, right? Now we've got this black and white background that's like all over the place. And so we have to really figure out how to internalize that or perceive that in our own way, and that's why we're given this optical illusion at the end. That is such a solid closeout. I love that. Oh my god. Oh jeez. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I'll definitely have to cut this down because I'll make this into a video. The live version of this video, I guess, like where we cut it down, so it's not a lot of back and forth where I'm like stammering and stuff. I try to remove some of that because, like, obviously I don't say everything perfectly on the first try, but I try to make it so it's a little bit more digestible, where I'm not just stammering. I hope you guys, that's a banger of a song. I love any song that focuses on change up here or change out here. Like that's my jam. Because understanding what it means to be human is that we will change, right? We will become different people throughout our lifetime. That's inevitable, because as time moves, we move as a person, right? And we have to understand that you will change, and that's okay. But what we want to aim for is changing for the better, and that's what's important. Thanks so much for doing my request. Yeah, that was solid. Thank you for the recommend. That's solid. I loved it. And that brings us to the end of the clip. I hope you enjoyed it. That was a little sneak peek from the streams that we do on Sundays. If you enjoyed that, feel free to drop in Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern on the channel. If you don't feel like dropping in, don't worry. You can also just watch the videos. That works too. But regardless, I hope that your week is better than your day, your month is better than your week, and your year is better than your month. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Love you all.